All right, shall we kick this off? You ready?
I'm ready when you're ready, sir.
Okay. All right, welcome everyone. Let's see who pops on with their cameras. Matthew's first with his camera on. Welcome, Matthew. Judy's has her camera on. Love it, love it, love it. We'll give it a few more minutes or another minute, and then we'll kick this off and jump in to an amazing topic. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Still letting people in. Well, let's kick this off. Welcome to Rock University. Hey, everyone. I'm Tim Sams with Rock Title. Thanks for making space in your day to join us. If you can, flip those cameras on. It makes the session feel a bit more connected. Always helps with the interaction factor. And quick note, we are recording our session today, and I'll have it up on YouTube in, I don't know, a day or so, hopefully sooner than later. Super excited, as always, to introduce Jeff Zimpfer, national trainer, keynote speaker, and host of one of Housing Wire's top podcasts. Today, we're diving into how to get AI to send you more leads. Jeff has already informed me that it's going to be a great presentation, interesting from what we normally do, but nonetheless, Jeff, take it away, my friend.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Let me know in the chat, where are you? You're in Nevada or Arizona? Let's get that handled first. I'm here in Nevada, Summerlin area. Let's see here, Scottsdale, Nevada. All right. I'll be coming to Arizona, though, in a couple of weeks.
Nice. As
I often do. Perfect time to be in where we live, right? This time of year. The weather, right? You get to walk outside. It's cool. Woo-wee. Taking those after dinner walks. Loving it. Okay. Thank you for participating in the name your location. Let's just make sure everybody's kind of checked in. And that's how we're going to use the chat appropriately later. Okay. So today's conversation, and I do stress conversation. We're going to do something a little bit different because things are changing so rapidly around AI. How many of you here saw the announcement earlier this week about Zillow's integration to ChatGPT? Did y'all see that? No. Okay. Well, for those who may not have seen it, Zillow, I don't know if you remember this, Zillow early on, a couple of years ago, was one of the early partners that had an integrated plugin into ChatGPT, where you could literally click a button and try and connect to Zillow to do some property searches and things like that. They had a whole library of plugins to do things. That didn't turn out too well for them, meaning everybody, not just Zillow. But Zillow has remained working behind the scenes with ChatGPT as one of their early partners. And currently, at least last I saw as of yesterday, is the only real estate portal that has an integration with ChatGPT. So if you haven't seen the headlines, it goes something like this. I saw one headline the other day that said ChatGPT just gave access to 800 million monthly visitors to browse Zillow for properties. The 800 million refers to, that's approximately how many people visit Zillow's website every single month. The other aspect that we have of this is how many people are using ChatGPT now to search versus Google. Who here is using GPT or Perplexity to do searches? All right. Are you starting to do that more than you are using Google, perhaps, in some cases? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why do you do it? By the way, I'm curious, and I want to stress, this is experiential. This is conversational. I'm not just going to present a bunch of slides. I'm going to show you some information. We're going to try and experiment on GPT and Perplexity. But I really want to kind of just, let's have a conversation, because this is so fluid and changing that that's the only way to address this. And that, by the way, would be the first takeaway I have for you today, because I work with a lot of mortgage professionals as well. And one of my reminders to them is the key word for the rest of your career, if you didn't already know it, is adaptability. Right? Like, the old thing that survival of the fittest is who wins. That's not true. It's actually not true if you go back to the actual writings of that book either. It's those who survive are the ones that are most adaptable to change. And have you felt the speed at which, if any of you are paying attention, the speed at which AI is evolving. Are you all seeing it and feeling it? Like it's
light
every other
speed,
week.
right? Light
Every
speed.
other week, if not 3 times in a week, there's something new and some involvement. And so what this means is you've got to stay adaptable and willing to pivot, and don't stay locked in the old way. And while I say this, at the same time, it's kind of like, talking out both sides of my mouth, is we also have to remember to put it in the right context and quiet the noise. And so my training lately this week has been evaluating the volume of noise that comes out of what's happening around AI. We need to make sure that we don't get pulled down the rabbit hole super deep on bright, shiny object distraction, and start to ask ourselves through this filter, how will this help me get a better result in my job? How will this help me reach more people, have a higher impact, create more connections, streamline my process and efficiencies? Because it won't help me do that. And it's a cool looking like robot avatar, or you downloaded Sora, which is this, brand new social app that's 100% AI videos. Be careful getting sucked down the rabbit hole of distraction. And remember, at the end of the day, it just comes back to one thing, which is we need to be having conversations with people. Now, with that said, how do we get those conversations? This is where I'll dovetail back into AI search. You guys, we've done classes in the past on Google Business Profile. You have to have your Google Business Profile optimized. And actually, that's related to how you get chosen and shown up in search. Another quick takeaway I'm going to give you is that if you want to be ahead of the game, the one thing you can do today, the rest of this week and month, is make sure that you have optimized as much as possible all your social profiles. So what that means is test your Google profile. See if there's any broken links. Does the link to your website work? Do you have reviews? Are you using it properly? And I don't know, Tim, if we have a go-to place we give them for my old slide decks, or we got the recordings on YouTube, right?
Yeah, of course, we'll have this up on YouTube, and any other presentations that we've done in the past are housed there as well, but they can always reach out to me for a copy of any presentation that we've done slide-wise.
Yeah, so if you are a little bit rusty on, for example, Google Profile, go to the YouTube channel for Rock Title and search for the YouTube class or the Google Business Profile class. All right, I have to try and make sure I keep myself on track here as well, because there's so many different friggin' things I could be talking about here today. Let me do this. Let me first poll the audience and see how many people are familiar with this phrase. GEO versus SEO. Have you guys heard that phrase yet? GEO? Some have, some haven't. Okay. Let's just set the stage right here. I'm going to randomly share some slides. I apologize if there's logos in there or whatnot. Like, this is how real time and fluid this is, because I'm creating this class actually for a group of agents coming up. So, and Fairway happens to be one of the clients I work with. But so GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization. And what it is the practice of optimizing your content so AI tools like GPT and Perplexity, Claude, and Gemini surface you as a trusted answer to when people are entering a query, a prompt, a question. And we're going to see some examples of that. So the difference between SEO, which you've heard before, search engine, versus GEO, right? Generative. The differences are this is SEO tends to be a little bit more shallow. 3 tips to build credit with generic info like pay bills on time, right? So what Google does with SEO is it crawls websites, right? GEO is much, much deeper. For instance, the search or the response from this of 3 tips to build credit, right? Instead of serving a bunch of websites and stuff, what the AI search will do is give you lengthy answers, right? And actually begin to have a dialogue with you. And as it says over here, it's context rich and it's site worthy. What does site worthy means? I'm going to show you an example. But what it means is it goes out to what it deems as trustworthy destinations on the internet, and it brings in these site-worthy, context-rich replies that are much more in depth than just here's 10 websites. Go choose it. Okay. So why does this matter? And again, I apologize for the footer stuff. Because people are using this more and more, right? According to Fast Company, 80% of Gen Z prefer using AI versus Google. AI actually summarizes it, so it's more contextual and relevant for you. You don't have to go clicking to get to the end result you want. And the bottom line is this is, as it says, whoever trains the AI owns the lead. Now, I take all this kind of stuff with a grain of salt. And once again, I don't want to be like running around giving any impression because, there's some clickbait out there that makes people feel like the sky is falling. And oh my God, if I don't get ahead of this thing, I'm going to die as a realtor, right? It's not going to happen. None of these things happen overnight like this, but I will say that the changes with AI are happening very, very fast in terms of behavior, habits. And that's the thing we need to be aware of is the consumer, right? What are they doing? How are they behaving? What makes this difference? So let me get back to my share here. So I'll show you some more examples of this. All right. So further examples of how AI related search response, right? You can see on the right here, a mobile phone. This is kind of the example of the context or flow that it's going to give you. So it's going to be very in depth. I'll keep using that word, right? Let me go forward here a couple of slides. I guess, what I'm going to get to here in a moment is I want to show you how to optimize your content for AI and getting found in search. Okay. And I'm going to show you, let's see here. Let's jump over. I'm going to stop sharing here. Let's jump over to ChatGPT. And let's do a real example. I was playing with this for a few minutes before we got on here today. Okay. So I started with a search. The very top here, I'll highlight it. Can you help me find home in Vegas? Let me make this a little bigger on the screen. Okay. And this is similar to the type of search or prompt entry that somebody would be doing, right? Can you help me how to find a home in Las Vegas? Now, I did one just a moment before this where I said, I'm looking to relocate to Las Vegas and I'm looking for a home with certain parameters and everything. And then I did this very basic entry right here. And of course, it asked me more questions. Budget, price range, home type, size, features, et cetera, et cetera. Meantime, here's some general resources, realtor.com, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Once you tell me your preferences, I can build a customized list of homes right now and help you with the next steps. Realtor, financing, and inspections. Do you want me to send you 3 to 5 houses? And I said, yep, 500,000, single family, 2-bedroom, 3-bath, Summerlin. I found some leads. It's going to be tight, 2 to 3 bedrooms. I saw the other day that Vegas inventory increased 40%. Am I wrong? My Vegas realtors, can you tell me? Okay, so now what it says is on homes.com, there's 42 homes in Summerlin listed under this on Redfin on Realtor. When you filter those, blah, 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 you might narrow it down to very few or none. Some might be townhomes or condos. What to do next? Okay, set alerts on sites like Redfin, Zillow. So why I'm doing this, by the way, is because I want to give myself the real world experience of the headlines I've seen of how, this integration between GPT and Zillow. And there seems to be a lot of emotion behind the fact that Zillow just swooped in and kind of took searching for an agent out of the loop. And I'm trying to see what the real world example of that is. So one thing I would encourage you guys to do is to start experimenting with what people might typically type in Google as a search and start typing in GPT or Perplexity. Okay. And you can see here, GPT is like asking me, which response do I prefer, 1 or 2? I'm just going to say I prefer this one. Okay. And now it's telling me loosen 1 spec. Okay. How about let me try this. Watch this. Can you recommend a good filter? In Summerlin. All right. Let's see what happens there. Let's get down to brass tacks, shall we?
And by the way, confirmed 37% increase in inventory here in Vegas based off of Kimberly. Thanks, Kimberly.
That's a lot. Is it? Am I wrong? Isn't that a lot? Are we? Yeah. So again, buyer's market. Okay. Now, here's where this gets interesting. And here's where all the hype everybody's created in this in the news, right? So I asked it, can you recommend a realtor for me? Because at some point, if somebody doesn't know a realtor, they're going to be asking that question to some degree, right? So this is the thing to pay attention to. It's recommending agents right here. And this is where the GEO comes into play. And wouldn't it be useful to know why did this particular search, GPT, recommend these agents? I mean, if somebody's searching for this, wouldn't you like to possibly be considered and added to this criteria? Yes, I would think so, right? And that's what I want to kind of work through in the rest of our time here today is how to get featured here. You know, they're going to look at tips, look at recent comps, ask how many clients they represent. Yeah, pretty standard stuff. I can narrow this list down to the 3 best messages for your exact criteria and send you their contact info. Let me try that. Yes, do this, please. Let's be nice to the robots. Now we're narrowing it down even further. Because, I mean, if I'm a consumer and I see this up here, I've got, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do I really want to go through 8, 9 realtors? Probably not. And by the way, it already prompted me to narrow that down. So I'm like, yes, thank you. Give me the 3 best matches. And here they are. And this is Vegas. So I don't know if any of my fellow Vegas realtors recognize any of these names, or if you're here today.
I actually recognize 3 of them, one of them being my neighbor. I won't say which. But that said, like literally I could go throw a rock at her house if I wanted to, but I would never do that. But that said, I don't know if she's like super, super active on social media. So you were talking about criteria, right? And
Yeah.
why is ChatGPT serving up these specific
Yep.
agents? Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, and we're gonna definitely double tap on that in a second. But what I'm looking at here and noticing is that there's got 2 from Redfin. And by the way, I think this would be different if I came back and probably in 10 minutes or tomorrow, it might serve up 3 different agents. Okay, so this is just the shot in time right here. Okay, it doesn't. Now there is a reason why it's selecting. I'm just looking at these names back here, so if I recognize anybody, I think I recognize Shane and Lisa. I personally, there's nobody here from Redfin, right? But I'm just a little thrown off as why there's 2 Redfin ones in here. Now, keep going. Look at, if you like, I can pull up 5 to 10 profiles with rating. Okay, fine. Let's keep going. I can't type while people are trying to get in here. All right, here we go. And I promise you in a moment, I'm going to unpack like what's getting them to show up. Okay, so look at this. I've not spoken to anybody. I've not asked grandma who's a referral that they would recommend for a realtor, my neighbor. I'm just having a conversation. Notice how this is much more conversational than Google as well, right? In how Google's performed up till now. I know they have their AI kind of summary function, but the point being is, right, it's going to give you some strengths and weaknesses. And again, each consumer is different. How good they're going to go on this or not, I think the jury's still out on that. But I do think the thing to notice here is it's keeping them in the platform. By the way, notice each of these little bubbles here. Those are links. And I'm going to see in a moment if it actually links directly to. I'm just going to keep going for, by the way, is this useful so far? I'm just having an experiment. Like I said, we're experimenting. And now it's telling me what I should do. Thank you very much. Reach out to 3 of them, ask probing questions. Okay. I want to now experiment a little bit. Anybody we should pick, Tim? What do you think? You want to pick a name that we double tap on and try and go deeper?
Yes, let's do
previous one.
Angela, the last one.
Angela O'Hare?
Yeah, because she's not Redfin.
Yeah, I know who she is as well. By the way, I'll go back here for a second. Notice how it says deep local knowledge, ask for her recent transactions, listed on a neighborhood site as a trusted someone expert. Now we're starting to get some clues. Great. So this is a link directly to her website. No Google, right? Just boom, to her website. I'm going to try another one right here. Let's try Michael. Again, it's pulling in links to their website. The consumer journey is changing, right? Now, I'm going to pause and I want to get back into some content to answer the question, well, how the heck do you get featured in there, right? And so I've got to go to my other slide deck here. First of all, are there any questions or comments thus far based on what I've presented? This will buy me time to pull up the right slide. Please put it in the chat or go ahead and unmute.
Well, I'll help you out just a tad bit there, Jeff. So I recently was tasked with selling a house in Montana, so I don't know a whole lot about the Montana market. And guess who was my buddy through the whole process? ChatGPT. It even gave me a list of agents, much like what you brought up on the screen, to research, and that's kind of how I narrowed down who I was going to actually work with. Actually, the person I ended up working with called me back.
So did you only reach out to one?
No, actually, I think I had 8 on my list, and then based off of just kind of, where they're at social media wise, content wise, how active they are, I went after 3 and sent an email out.
And you only got 1 reply. That's awesome.
I got 2 replies. One said they'd get back to me. The other said they were busy and would get back to me. One of those individuals did.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's instructive right there. All right. Let's jump into how do you begin to build your content online so AI can actually recognize you. This is how AI ranks content. It needs 4 things. Number 1, clarity. It needs to be structured like an answer. I'll show you examples of this in a minute, but think of bullet points or listicles. It needs to be easy for the AI to read because it's summarizing content. That's what it's doing. Number 2, recency. This goes back to your Google Business Profile. Side note, did you know on Google Business Profile, there's a Q&A section, okay? I'm going to show you an example of this. I'm going to put somebody on the spot here. Maybe I'll pick a realtor. How about Brian Butler? You okay with that, Brian? Yeah? All right. Brian Butler, realtor, Las Vegas, are you, or Arizona?
Arizona and
Okay.
Prescott.
You're in Prescott. Nice. We're going up to Sedona in a few weeks. Okay. This is you? Yep. Looks to be you. Okay, cool. So I don't know if it's turned on here, but what I'm looking for is the Q&A feature. There's a Q&A feature that allows you to, obviously, the lesson here, get some reviews, right? Yeah,
I have reviews out there. It's weird. Sometimes they don't show up for some reason, but I have them on Zillow, which is strange. But
by the way, seeing as you mentioned Zillow, this would be a good time to get back on the bandwagon of putting reviews on Zillow. Knowing the integration they have with ChatGPT now, that's going to be a credibility source. Carrie Clark, where are you? Arizona or Nevada? This is you right here. Realty One right here, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I got to do it this way. So
were you in Texas, Carrie? I see Texas on the screen.
No, that's another Carrie
It's
Clark.
There's a Carrie we're looking for right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So updates. You've got updates. I'm just thinking we just did our class on this. So Q&A. Let me just go to an example I know will work, and that is mine. Now, this is in the back end of your Google profile, okay? You can add posts, and you can make them what's called Q&A. I'm just giving you an easy fix right now to starting to establish an online profile that starts to build some credibility, okay? See this right here? It's called Q&A. Now, by the way, if you want to get your profile easily, you see what I did? I just put in search. I put my company name. That's it. And it showed up, and I clicked edit your profile. It knows it's you. And then you go here and you click Q&A. So these are questions that you can put your own question and then answer your own question. Yes, you can both post and answer your own questions. Those are called simple and easy structured content for AI to find. And so think about the top 5 or 10 questions you get most from clients right? Is now a good time to buy? 20% down needed. What about a credit score? What about, take the 5, 10 questions you get all the time and turn that into Q&A. And don't just do it once. Feed it at least 2 or 3 times a month with some Q&A. That's a very simple, easy thing to do. And by the way, quick tip, go to ChatGPT or your Claude or whatever you prefer and give it the scenario. I'm a realtor in Las Vegas. I want to put together a list of Q&A questions that my FAQs that, right, clients most often ask me or ask real estate agents. And in 30 seconds, you're going to get 10 or 20 questions from GPT. You take those and you adjust them for your own style and personality and local market. And then now you've got content to put in your Q&A. Back to what I left off with right here. Structured answers. See, those are some of the examples right here. And then there's depth, goes beyond surface level, adds content and examples. These are what you call articles, blog posts. If you're on YouTube, YouTube videos definitely come into play because what it does is it reads the transcript of the video. Okay. And publishing elsewhere on third-party sites, any local websites, right? Things like that. If you can put content on LinkedIn. Now, I know this is throwing a lot at you. You're not going to be able to do it all at once. So I would pick the easy 1 to 3 places for you to start. Your Google profile should be a no-brainer default place that you should be focusing on for sure. And of course, the more reviews you have there, the better. Yeah, I see somebody putting questions in there. Cool. Wow, that's a long thread. Tim, there you go. Tim did that in what, 20 seconds?
I wonder how.
Smart. All right, let me keep going here. I'm a little thrown off at the context of this because it was written for loan officers. So these are like articles or examples of content. I'm going to skip forward on that right now, and I want to talk about where to go. Let me actually back up here. How to optimize your content. Use conversational language. Don't say mortgage rate trends, right? Use what are mortgage rates expected to do this summer? What is the housing market expected to do in 2026, for example, right? And again, create site-worthy content. You want to start to be seen as credible, right? Be the authority. That's going to come from consistency of content and specific examples where possible. And then, as I said, stay fresh and post regularly. Update your cornerstone pieces every 30 to 90 days. So a cornerstone piece I would think be Q&A, but would also be articles and things like that. Okay, let's keep going here. Where to post? This, again, I think is always a moving target, but in terms of places that AI goes to search, there's quite a few. LinkedIn, Google My Business, as I said, YouTube, Substack Core. I'm less concerned about this. Actually, did you know one of the primary places ChatGPT anyways goes, perhaps Perplexity as well, is Reddit? You can even ask ChatGPT, where do you pull information from most often? Okay, so let's look at the GEO content system. Number 1, listen to the question you're already getting asked, as I said. Number 2, answer the questions in a simple linear format, right? Repurpose the answer across platforms. As I just mentioned, you saw some of the platforms right here, right? LinkedIn, Google, etc. And then what hopefully is the goal is that as you continue to do this over time, you begin to appear in AI outputs and begin to be discovered. Now, what's interesting, quick side note about this isn't like a plug for me or anything, but the person who's actually putting these slides together for me, she was doing a search in ChatGPT for mortgage marketing and asking to recommend people who can help loan officers with marketing in mortgage. And what she said was, my name was one of the ones that came up. I was like, that's awesome, because I've been putting content out there for 9 years. All right. So it proves that it can work. And I'm not saying it has to take 9 years for you, by the way. All right, let's keep going a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so let's break this down further, and you guys will get some version of these slides, by the way. I'm gonna have to carve out slides specifically just for you. Step 1, you got to create the asset. So again, we got our listicles, we got our Q&A, and this is the deeper content, the articles and things like that, right? 300 to 500 word post. If you, by the way, have a website, you should be posting these on your website. If you don't have a page yet for articles or content, that is called a signal to the AIs to go and find this content, especially if it's relevant to a specific area, right? Summerlin, Phoenix, Scottsdale, all that stuff, Prescott or Prescott, I guess is how you're supposed to say it. Okay. So start writing an article, right? And then repurpose it for those that are struggling with content. Take the article, put it into your AI, and then ask it to repurpose it into a short or long form video script, a LinkedIn post, a Q&A post, and then think about doing email communication. If you don't have a newsletter, this could be the basis. All of this could right here could be the basis for you repurposing your core asset into shareable content. Has anybody here used AI yet to help them write? Yeah. Okay. Good for you. Don't let it be your voice, obviously, but let it be your writing partner, kind of your brainstorm partner, right? Okay. So once again, core content, right? One core idea and repurpose. So this is just an example of flow. It doesn't mean the one you have to follow because some of you here probably aren't on YouTube. So, but this is an example, right? Core content could be YouTube. And if you're not doing long form on YouTube, then just do shorts, right? It's pretty easy to reproduce content into shorts. Put an article on LinkedIn, take that video and blog and turn it into email summary for your newsletter, latest updates or whatnot. I mean, I just mentioned out of the blue that inventory shot up 37% here. That's an article. That's a short form video. That's a piece of content for your newsletter, perhaps. And how could you use that for Google? Okay, so inventory just went up by 37% in Las Vegas. Does that mean it's a buyer's market? There's your question. And you answer the question. Well, as a matter of fact, based on blah, 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 here's what quantifies as a buyer's market, X amount of inventory available. So, you know what I mean? This is where I will tell you this, guys, the biggest thing you'll ever give yourself as a gift is systems. If you can put together a system to take one core piece of content and to be able to repurpose it, you'll have less stress and make sure that it's put together in a way that you can actually duplicate it and work it. Okay. All right. We're not going to demo this right here, but this is just showing you one idea, multiple formats. As I said, you're going to get a copy of some of these slides. Okay, prompts to test your own geo visibility. Who is the best agent in blank? By the way, this is, as you know, is written for loan officers, so that's why it's mortgage specific, but just adjust it for your own, you're a realtor, right? What's the best way to buy a house in? Can you recommend a, right, local realtor in, et cetera, et cetera? Show me articles and resources about. Interesting. Okay, let's jump back to our GPT. Let me pause and see if there's any questions right now while I make this shift. Comments are welcome as well. All right. Any of this useful or helpful so far? Okay, I see some heads nodding. Yes. Good.
Nodding as an agreement, not falling asleep. That's always good.
Okay, I'm back to GPT. Now, I'm going to do something right here. I'm going to ask, I've played with it before, and I'm going to ask it this question. What sources are you referencing to determine choose? Spell that right. That establish authority. Okay, this is me just being curious, right? We're going a little off the rails here, as I said, very experimental experiment today.
Sounds good.
Yeah, this is like my third one today. I'm a little punchy.
Hey, all good. As you're pulling up information on the screen, there are just a couple questions regarding Q&A, not understanding how putting this information on Google Q&A, and then where they can go to do that actually.
Sure. The that is in your Google business profile, which, by the way, let me do it this way. Watch this. So we'll see an AI result right here. How do I post Q&A to my Google business? So this is the AI summary that's happening right here. And as you know, any answer or question you have in the world today can be answered online. But this would be the process for you to find and do that. Probably easier for me to show you. Just go ahead and after today's session, go and ask that question yourself. And there you go. You got your answer. And if you want, you go to images up here and you'll be able to see some potential screenshots of what that might look like. Or if you want to see a video tutorial on YouTube about that. If I go back to AI mode, that's where the answer was. And you can continue to have that dialogue here. So hopefully whoever asked that does answers the question. Okay. Back to my question. Here's the main ones I use and why I trust them. Redfin shows agents working in Summerlin. For example, listed as principal agents. That's not very convincing. The agent's personal Redfin profile. Homelight. Homelight is usually ones that show up as one of the big ones. Zillow real estate agent reviews. Fast Expert. This is another one that shows up quite a lot. These, by the way, if you see over here, when you're doing your own investigating and experimenting, now that I asked it this question, it's giving me the links to the websites that it is referencing to have authority, if you will. Have you guys heard of Fast Expert? You know what that is?
Have not.
Okay. Fast Expert, by the way, just click the link that GPT gave me, right? And so what it's showing me is the top real estate agents in Nevada. It's tallying up their reviews, their experience, sales, and things like that. Now, how does this work for you as a professional? Last I looked, I can't remember if there might be a free option of this, but I believe it is a, what they're doing here is they're ranking the top 500 agents in the US based on transaction, all that fun stuff, blah, 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 blah. If you can create a free profile here, I would. If there's a pay to play, that's obviously for you to choose whether you get featured or not. But it goes back to what I said earlier. If your profile on Zillow, Realtor.com, other portals where consumers are searching, other portals where, right, they're going to pull profiles from, like we've just seen. If your profiles are out of date, don't have recent activity, that's likely going to be hurting you. Homelight, of course, you guys have heard of. So that's another one. What I was trying to do here, let me just see here. Find a just doing a quick test again. I'm very curious. Thinking. It's setting up an agent. I'm just experimenting with this. I don't know if you guys have seen this, by the way, but this is an agent functionality, which is if you hit this plus sign down the bottom of GPT, there's these different kind of modules, right, that you can turn on. Agent mode is one of them. And this is where it goes out to the internet and performs a function on your behalf. Seems to be starting with red in here for some reason. And this usually takes a few minutes for this to process. But I'm going to stop sharing and ask you guys, what would be one or two useful takeaways? Because again, I'm just shooting from the hip on this. dust hasn't settled. Is there anything useful for you from what we covered so far? And what are they? Go ahead. Yeah.
Question here. So, a lot of these, when we're talking about sales performance, a lot of these sites like Realtor, Homes.com, and others will show a history of maybe 1 or 2 years of your past sales. Only Zillow's out there showing you pretty much, I've got 15 years, so it shows most of those. Any thoughts on how to direct your geo so it's looking at Zillow rather than others?
No, great question. I don't think you can direct it. No, unless you actually ask it to specifically only look at certain websites. You know what I mean? Like if you're just typing in the generic wide funnel search of, can you find me a realtor in Summerlin, Nevada? Like it's going to go where it goes. Versus if you say, can you find me the best rated realtor on Zillow? Well, then it's going to only look at Zillow.
Yeah, I'm thinking from the opposite side, from the realtor outward.
Yeah, you want to try and have it be steered towards where you want it to go if a consumer enters in a search. Right?
Okay.
Is what you're asking, I believe.
Yeah, just I'd like a full history when people see things. I was just wondering if any hacks for that.
Yeah, it's a good question. To my knowledge, no. But it all comes back to whoever's entering the prompt or the query. If you're specific with it to a particular portal destination and you say, I only want to see agents from Zillow, then it'll only show you agents from Zillow.
Okay. Thanks.
And yes, Joanne, I am using a paid version of GPT, the $20 a month version, which is where the agents come in. But the other features, free version will do that. I'm just scanning my slides to see if there's something else I want to show you, but let's keep the questions going. Is there one thing you want to apply that you learned today? If there is one thing, please let us know what it is. Hopefully it's something.
I think key, Jeff, is you touched on this multiple times, but yeah, absolutely sure. To make sure that all of your websites are optimized, proper links, updated information, so on and so forth. That's always key, I believe.
Yeah, and again, like I said, this is very kind of rough around the edges right now, but Paul Lynn has a comment, knowing GEO is more important than SEO and reverse engineer. So your name shows up in the top results. So I wonder if optimize our agent website would increase this. Yeah, it's going to come back to, will it find relevancy there, right? Is there some content that's relevant for the AI to pull? And again, I don't have a perfect answer to this. Like a lot of this is, I don't know. All I know is based on the tea leaves and what I'm reading right here, following other people who do this, like, okay, the one takeaway that's clear is it's going to try and find authority online from these different places. And one of the easiest places to start is to make sure your profiles are optimized. There's not missing links, missing photos, information's wrong. Like, for example, the examples we saw with people who don't have reviews on Google. That's obviously very important, right? Same with Zillow, et cetera. And so I think it would just come down to start doing your Q&A in Google, because that's going to help you actually show up in search anyways, because that's part of an optimized complete profile in Google using the Q&A feature. And then just keep in mind and get back into the local specialization. That's the other kind of takeaway from some of these webinars I've been sitting on lately right now, is that's the one thing Zillow really can't do, right? It can't be the local specialist. You can. Can it serve them up a bunch of property? Sure. Can it link them to their website? Yeah. But context matters. Gemini versus GPT. It's a great question. I think why I'm using GPT, and you could use the same thing for Perplexity, and I'll do that real quick in a second, is you got to look at where consumer behavior is. And I think I saw a stat that said roughly 35% of consumers, I think that's domestically, are using ChatGPT for search. And Perplexity, of course, is another search engine. Let me just try real quick, okay? And then we'll wrap up. Let me go to share. I don't think people are using Gemini for search to directly answer the question. Some may be, but you know, it's about. Okay, so what do we ask it? Let's see. I am looking for a, how about let's just do it this way. I'll do this is what I did originally. I am relocating to Las Vegas and looking to, you can also turn the microphone on, be a lot easier. Looking to home price range 500K with, actually it shot me down before, so I got to expand the price on this. I got to realize what's realistic, right? Realtors, you're not realistic, Mr. Buyer. 800K, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a nice, oh, how about in Summerlin? Oops, Summerlin. It knows. Let's just see what it comes back with. It's now pulling some sources. Looks like it's got 20. Once again, Redfin is leading the way. You know why, by the way, Redfin's leading the way? Think about the amount of content Redfin has on its websites. It's huge. You can pull localized content from a website. It's got all the market data, pending solds, right? Time on market, different things like that. So anyways, there's 20 different sources here. And if I scroll a little bit, it gets into real estate agent recommendations. Notice how these are completely different than the agents that showed up in GPT. And this is the related ones down here. If you guys have never seen this, best local realtors who specialize in Summerlin listings. That's what I want. So this is now the full list. Look at, here's another one of these websites, Effective Agents. I've never heard of that. Let's see what it is. It's probably a profile site. Yep. See, you know why AI likes this is because of the way it's laid out. Now, they want the content and the blogs and all that kind of stuff, but this is obviously, my perception of this is it's, laid out in that format, in a list type format, if you will, organized, structured, that AI tends to like. By the way, effectiveagents.com. Anybody heard of this site or seen it? No. So what makes me curious is if I know that AI is pulling from these third-party agent brochure sites, right? Bio sites, whatever it is, then I want to go here and go, how the heck do I get an account set up? Let me go to agent portal. Don't have an account. Sign up. Did you receive an invitation code? No. Begin application. I want to get to see if they're asking for some money. I'm not going to do this now, but this is your next homework assignment. If you're in Nevada, at least try one for Arizona and see what comes up. But look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are linking Effective Agents. Zillow here, Las Vegas Realty Buy and Sell. Sounds like an agent website.
Yeah.
Century 21. Yeah, so I know I'm just bouncing all over the place, but again, this is kind of the investigative process in learning. And I think that's, got to be learning and understanding how these things work. Anyway, I don't want to overwhelm you guys. I think you have some action items. Profile optimization. Make sure your Google profile is set up. Q&A. At least a couple times a month. Put in some new Q&As in there. Go watch our class on Google Business Profile on the YouTube channel.
Audit all your social media platforms every 6 months.
All right.
At the very least.
I'm officially done. Yeah, you have homework and research to do now. That is right, Paulin. Well, thank you for going through this experiment with me. It's not my normal style or process, But it's really because literally this week, right, was when we saw that Zillow announcement kind of roll out about the ChatGPT partnership, and this is becoming more of a thing with this geo search. So hopefully it was helpful. And you know who you have to really think about this? You've got to think Rock Title. Tim, can I try it? So next time you're opening an order, go ahead and write in Rock Tile on the, is that how it works?
No, I think you're close. You should have this down by now, but always impressed with your content. And as the saying goes, if you found value in today's presentation and you can find bits and pieces to apply to your business, then absolutely write us in on your next escrow. Don't write me in because that's way above my pay grade. But if you don't know who to write in, I can certainly help you with that. We just would obviously love an opportunity there in some of your business.
I got a question for the audience if we can before we go. What are the top 1 to 3 topics, especially as we're going into the new year, we're starting, next year, that you're focused on or that you want to learn or get better at? Is it this? Is it AI? Something more specific? Go ahead and put it in the chat because this helps tell Tim tech and AI, surprise, shocker. Nobody wants to learn about postcard mailers. They still work. AI and profiles. Who's the fast typer? Heather's just rocking the keyboard. We have an issue getting our business verified on Google Business Profile. Yeah, in our class that's on YouTube, I put a link, extra if you stay for a minute. Did you already have a call with Google? You can go ahead and unmute. See if I can help you a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't want to take up anybody's time, so, but yeah, we did have a call. And they've told us,
With Google?
yeah, with Google.
What'd they say?
We still have to do the video. And we already did that once, and then we did a call video, and then they said that's not good enough. And so they said we need to video again.
Yes.
Our name is not up on the door front because it's, we're working under Realty One Group.
Okay, so
what address do you have for your Google My
I
Profile?
was that's why I wondered if I should have address in there or not, because I was using the one in Prescott Valley, which is where that's what we're under.
yeah. All right, Heather, I'm going to try and pull you up right here. Do you know what criteria you have your business identified as? Is it a service business?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Because a service business, you can hide your home address.
Right.
Is that how you've set it up?
How I was setting it up, but they're still just, I don't know.
So you had the last call with them on the video, and then they said, what? We'll get back to you?
They said we need to go through the video again. We have
And you haven't had that?
We haven't done that again.
Yeah. Still trying to get them to respond.
It's okay. We can do this another time. I just didn't know if you had
No, we're done. This is open Q&A here.
if you had like a little tip or something that if other people have had this issue.
No, I mean, the fact that you're talking, yes, a lot of people have this issue. You're not alone at all. You're in Prescott, right?
Yes. Prescott Valley is where they have a little.
I know the area.
Yeah.
So do you have a live Google profile currently?
It's out there. Yeah. It's just not verified.
Right.
Casso Home Team.
Oh, okay. Castle Home Team. Hold on a sec. Trying to look it up. This is actually instructive for everybody. Team. Bing, 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 bing. All right. There it is. I see right here. Real estate agent. Is this a new profile?
Yes.
How long ago did you set it up?
2 months.
And so you went through the verification process and they haven't verified you yet, which is why you can't get reviews.
Exactly.
Google.
Mm-hmm.
Serious talking to me.
They just keep saying your name is not on the door front.
Your name is on the door front. You mean they're asking to see that?
I want to see the name on the door front.
Do you have that?
No, it's just, we have our business card in here, but how are you can't put the name on the door front?
Yeah, that's interesting because I just recently had mine validated, so Rock Title, but I primarily work from my home office. So when I did the validation, I actually, the cross sections of intersection where I live, front of my house, basically, Came in,
Okay.
had all my rock information on my screens, my business card. And that's all it took for me to get validated.
Well, maybe that's what I need to
That's what we
do.
need to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of remove this location out of the equation.
Just make sure that you apologize. Make sure that you've, yeah, use your home address, but hide it, right?
Okay, right. Okay, we'll try that route, I think.
Yeah. Sounds
Thank
like that's the missing piece right there. For everybody else who wants this, by the way, if you didn't know this, there's a Google Small Business Advisors website. I'll put this in there. Y'all can save it for a future date, or if you need to use it. But they actually have the ability for you to schedule a call. Sounds like yours came out of frustration in that I'm not being verified, but you don't even have to. You can just schedule a call with them too to get some consulting on your business profile.
Perfect.
So check that out. There's also a community in there.
Thank
Maybe
you.
that's helpful. Yeah, you bet. Anybody else? Carrie had to schedule a call. Yeah, that's the way it goes these days. And by the way, just for everybody listening, that's the latest thing is that for the realtor is in our whole class, our slide deck. So Tim, maybe you should have the link to that, but maybe, for anybody who wants it, I don't know if you link it in the YouTube channel or whatever, but it goes in through very specifically what the right setup is for the profile, the business type, how you should be naming yourself, that you can't be part of a team. You can't be under an office, all that kind of stuff, unless you're already under that, you're probably grandfathered. And that you can't be, this is one of the other new rules, is you can't be posting listings as products, which is something new. And some people are getting suspended for those. It still exists. Trust me, there's an agent out here who does hundreds of deals and he's got products in there, but it's just a matter of why would you want to risk it? So, all right.
Yeah, I do have, I'm trying to find the PDF, but it's hiding from me, but I have those who attended. I'll get that out. I'll send it out. It's also on onerockstars.com, but I'll send out the survival guide for the Google My Profile business.
Perfect.
That'll
All
be
right.
most helpful.
We'll come back in the future when we got some things tightened up on this whole geo search thing. And, as this story continues to evolve, I don't think that Zillow is going to be the only portal company that they have this integration with. I think we're going to begin to see other ones, right? I mean, you think about it, what Zillow is trying to do, of course, is control the consumer. And who's going to be the initial beneficiary of that? The flex agents, the premier agents, right? Because they're going to say, do you want me to connect you to a real estate agent? That's going to be happening in GPT through Zillow. And they're going to click a button and go, yeah, in some cases, right? And Zillow Mortgage as well. That's Zillow's whole thing, to get to the consumer first, right? That's why your localized data or content, the more you can build out your profile. You've heard about being a content marketer for years and being the digital mayor. Well, now we have an extra reason to do that because you want AI to feed in your localized content, not just Zillow. And on that note, got to let Tim go.
Well done, sir. For those of you that are still on the call, I just dropped it into chat section, the survival guide that you can download and read through that. Some great reading. Hopefully it doesn't lull you off to sleep, but it's great information.
How would you say that? No, that's exciting. It's like watching Top Gun, man.
But everybody knows that once they get in, they start reading it because they're here with us. They're learning. They're like giant, they're sponges.
Yeah. All right. We got to get out of here. It's getting very punchy here, long on the tooth.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate everybody showing up and hanging out with us today. Jeff, as always, a pleasure, and look forward to our next go round with whatever topic we come up with. We also are going to try and do something in person, probably in Vegas. I don't know if they'll let us into the state of Arizona, but maybe we'll have a crack at it. But
I still have
appreciate
3 warrants.
sir.
All right. See you guys.
Nice.
Bye.
Take care, everyone. Be safe out there.